King David's First Session, a narrative account. The quiet hum of the modern counseling office was a stark contrast to the clamor of King David's court. Dr. Ilara Vance, a woman with a calm demeanor and observant eyes, sat opposite him. David, though dressed in simple yet unmistakably regal attire, carried the weight of centuries on his shoulders. His hands, calloused from years of gripping swords and plucking harp strings, rested heavily in his lap. "Welcome, King David," Dr. Vance began, her voice soft but clear. "I am Dr. Ilara Vance. Thank you for coming. I understand that speaking with someone outside your usual circle may be an unusual step. But my aim here is to provide a safe and confidential space for you to speak freely. Everything we discuss from this moment forward remains strictly confidential and between us. There is no judgment here, only a desire to understand. Please, tell me, what brings you to seek counsel today?" David let out a deep, weary sigh, a sound that seemed to carry the echoes of ancient battles and profound sorrows. He looked down at his hands, as if the answers lay etched in their lines. "Confidentiality. A rare and precious commodity in a king's court," he murmured, his voice raspy with emotion. "Perhaps that is precisely what brings me. My soul is troubled, Dr. Vance. Some shadows cling to me, shadows that even the brightest sun of victory cannot dispel. I have known great triumphs, led armies, united a kingdom, danced before the Lord with all my might. Yet the weight of my failures, the echoes of my transgressions, they press down upon me heavier than any crown." Dr. Vance nodded, her expression empathetic. "It sounds like you carry a significant burden despite your many achievements." She observed gently. "You speak of shadows and transgressions. Can you tell me more about what these feel like, or how they manifest in your daily life?" David lifted his gaze, his eyes, though still sharp, held a deep-seated pain. "They manifest as a constant ache in my spirit," he explained, his voice gaining a quiet intensity. "There are nights when sleep eludes me and I lie awake, the memories replaying themselves like a tormenting song. The face of Uriah, a loyal man, one of my mighty men. His trust, my betrayal. And Bathsheba, the woman I wronged, and the child born of that sin, taken from me. A swift, terrible judgment. I cried out to the Lord then, fasted, pleaded. But the child was taken. And though I rose and went on, a part of me, a vital part, withered that day. And the shame, Dr. Vance," he continued, his voice dropping to a near whisper. "The burning, agonizing shame. I remember the prophet Nathan came to me. He told me a story, a simple tale of a rich man with many flocks, who took the one beloved lamb of a poor man to feed his guest. As he spoke, my blood boiled with righteous anger. The man who has done this deserves to die, I declared, my fury blinding me. And then he looked at me, his eyes piercing my very soul, and said, 'You are the man.' In that instant, the world crumbled. The weight of my sin, laid bare, not just before God, but before a man, before myself. The hypocrisy, the cruelty. It was a wound far deeper than any sword. I confessed, of course. What else could I do? But the shame. It clings to me still. It is this very ache, this burden that often drives me to my harp. To my pen," David added, a flicker of something akin to purpose entering his eyes. "When the darkness is deepest, when the words fail me in prayer, I find them in song. The Psalms. They are not merely songs of praise, though many are. They are my cries, my laments, my arguments with the Almighty, my desperate pleas for mercy, my shouts of joy. It is how I pour out my soul, how I wrestle with the chaos within and without. It is how I seek His face, even when I feel most distant. The loss of your child, and the circumstances surrounding it, must have been an unbearable grief," Dr. Vance acknowledged, her voice filled with compassion. "And the weight of your actions towards Uriah and Bathsheba. And then the profound shame of Nathan's confrontation. It sounds like that guilt and shame remain very present for you. And these songs, these psalms, are a way for you to process that, to express the depths of your spirit?" Present? David repeated, a bitter edge to his tone. It is a constant companion. And then, the ripple effects. The sword that would never depart from my house. Amnon, Tamar, Absalom. His voice cracked, and he abruptly looked away, his eyes welling with unshed tears. He swallowed hard, visibly struggling for composure. My son, Absalom. My beautiful, rebellious son. I loved him, Dr. Vance, despite his treachery. To hear of his death. It shattered me. My soul cried out, "Oh my son Absalom, my son Absalom. Would God I had died for thee, O Absalom, my son, my son." Even now, the words choke me. And Tamar, my daughter. The pain she endured, the shame. My own inaction, my failures as a father, led to such bitter fruit in my household. How could my children, raised in my house, turn out so broken? I carry the guilt of their paths, knowing my own choices set a terrible example. How can a man, chosen by the Most High, fall so grievously? How can a father bear such loss, knowing his own sins paved the way? The pain of losing a child, especially under such tragic circumstances, is an immense sorrow, Dr. Vance reiterated, allowing a moment of silence for David's raw emotion. And to feel a connection between your past actions and these subsequent tragedies. The guilt over how your children's lives unfolded. That must be an incredibly heavy burden to carry. It sounds like you're experiencing deep grief and perhaps a profound sense of responsibility and guilt for these events. Guilt, yes, David affirmed, his gaze returning to her, though still clouded by sorrow. And a weariness that seeps into my bones. There are days when the joy of kingship and the songs of praise feel hollow. I find myself withdrawn, even from my closest advisors. The constant vigilance, the threats from outside, the whispers of discontent within my own court. It is exhausting. Sometimes, I long for the simple life of a shepherd boy. Tending sheep under the open sky, far from the complexities and the crushing weight of this crown. And there is another sorrow, Dr. Vance. My heart's greatest desire was to build a house for the Lord, a magnificent temple. But I was told I could not because I am a man of war. A man of the sword, with too much blood on my hands. It was a righteous desire, yet denied. That disappointment, too, weighs heavily. Yet, in all this, there is a flicker of light, a source of pride. My son, Solomon. He is wise, and the Lord has blessed him. He will build the temple I could not. That brings me some comfort, knowing the legacy will continue. And in a way, my desire will be fulfilled through him. So, the responsibilities of your position, coupled with these intense feelings of grief, guilt, and the weight of past events, along with this profound disappointment about the temple, are leading to a sense of exhaustion and a desire to withdraw. Dr. Vance summarized, connecting his various struggles. Yet, you also find pride and comfort in Solomon's future and his role in building the temple. It sounds like you're feeling overwhelmed and perhaps questioning your worth or purpose. Despite your faith and your accomplishments, but also holding on to hope through your son. Questioning. Yes, David admitted, his voice barely a whisper. I have always sought the Lord, poured out my heart in song and prayer. My love for him is boundless, a fire in my bones. But in these darkest moments, even his presence feels distant, or perhaps, I feel unworthy of it. My greatest fear is that the Holy Spirit who has guided me, inspired me and been my strength might depart from me, as it did from Saul before me. I am a man of war, a man of blood, and a man of many failings. Can such a one truly be a man after God's own heart? Dr. Vance met his gaze with a steady, compassionate look. That's a profound question, King David, she said. It seems you're grappling with your identity, your faith, and the very core of who you are in light of both your triumphs and your deeply felt regrets. My role here is not to judge, but to help you explore these feelings, to find ways to navigate this immense pain, and to perhaps find a path towards some measure of peace and self-acceptance, even amidst the complexities of your life. Thank you for sharing so openly with me today. We can begin to explore these concerns further in our next session.